moving from low functioning to high functioning in our ADHD journey. And you're just like, what do I do? There is a specific reason why my brain works the way it does. I love that you guys are calling in. I've gotten so many voicemails lately. I'm obsessed. I love it. Hey, what's up? This is Kristen Carter, and you've tuned into the I Have ADHD podcast. I am medicated, caffeinated, regulated, and 100% ready to roll. How are you? Come in, get cozy. What are you doing? Do you need a snack? Do you need a drink? Don't forget that water is a thing. ADHDer. For the next hour-ish, we are going to be diving into the topic of moving from low functioning to high functioning in our ADHD journey. And let me tell you, it's going to be a ride as always. It's a solo show. Buckle up, roller coaster as usual. We're going to have fun today. As we get started, I just wanted to say something that I feel like is really relevant, and I just want to get the word out as a PSA. I actually scroll past every single Instagram reel that's like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but like that to me is the most annoying opening like one-liner. So I'm not going to say it, but like truly, I don't know who needs to hear this, but somebody needs to hear that if you are experimenting and like on a medication journey and you take Strattera, it's going to give you a bellyache if you don't eat first. I know this is the most random like opener to the pod that I've ever done, but somebody needs to hear this. I have heard from so many people recently who are on a medication journey and who have tried Strattera and they're like, I can't take it because it hurts my belly. And I just want to say, guys, you have to eat first. I don't know why it's not on the bottle. I don't know why our doctors are not telling us, but if you are on a med journey and you do notice that taking Strattera makes your belly feel like you're like 8 weeks pregnant, it feels exactly like that. It feels like waking up and you're 8 weeks pregnant and you're like, am I going to vomit? ? That's exactly how it feels. You get a hot flash and you're like, uh-oh. Listen, you got to eat first. So I need the world to know. And like, can we just spread the word? Because for some reason, this is not widely known. And maybe it won't work for you, but for everyone that I've given this advice to, it has worked for them. Take it on a full belly, y'all. Strattera. Take it on a full belly. Strattera, if you don't know, it's a non-stimulant, and it is one of the oldest medications used for ADHD treatment. So it's been around for decades and decades, and it's been heavily studied. It's been well researched. And as far as non-stimulants go, it's a great little med for the ADHD brain. It really helps with emotional regulation and other ADHD symptoms. So anyway, I just needed to get that out there. I needed like at least 20,000 people in the world to like understand and hear it and just like spread the word. If you're on a med journey, if your doctor suggests Strattera for you, for your kid, I just had a mom reach out to me this week saying like, my kid's on ADHD medicine and it hurts their belly. And I was like, I knew exactly what med it was. I'm like, oh, is that Strattera? Because that's just exactly what happens. So anyway, that's just a word to the wise. Like I said, it's going to be a ride today. We're going to be talking about going from low functioning through medium functioning, like mid functioning, into high functioning with ADHD. And I feel like I am uniquely positioned to have this conversation with you. And so I hope that you feel really supported and surrounded as we discuss this, because I've been at this for more than 20 years. I've been at this ADHD journey for more than 20 years. And I know that a lot of you listening to the pod, a lot of you finding this podcast are new to the ADHD space. You're new to your diagnosis. You're new to this journey. And you're just like, like, what do I do? How, other than medication, like, what can I do? How do people with ADHD get to the point where they're able to set goals and accomplish things and design a life that works for them? And so I've been at this for 20 plus years. I was diagnosed around age 20, 21. I don't actually remember, which checks out. for the ADHD experience. I always say I was diagnosed at 21, but like, I think I was. I'm pretty sure I was. It was like, it was around there. So anyway, 2021, I'm now 44. I just had a wonderful birthday. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to me. I am squarely in my mid 40s, which feels interesting. That it feels real interesting. But suffice it to say, I've been at this for more than 20 years. And I believe that I have moved through the stages of ADHD pretty predictably. And I am now at a place after 20 plus years where I am very high functioning. I still have ADHD. I'm still medicated and treated for it. I still have to set my life up in a way that's really specific to my needs. But because I've been able to do that, I am what I would consider high functioning with ADHD. I feel really confident that I'm able to do pretty much whatever I want to do. Now, I'm very specific about what I want to do and don't want to do, but I'm really confident and self-assured. I have a lot of self-trust, and I just believe like, hey, if I want to go do XYZ, I have the ability to do it. Whereas 20 years ago, that was absolutely not the case. And so here's my hope for today. My hope for today is that I'm able to share with you 10 steps to move from lower functioning into higher functioning with ADHD, and that it doesn't take you 20 years because you've got the steps. Like nobody laid the steps out for me 20 years ago, but I am here with them for you so that you can speed up the process for yourself, so that it can take you just a couple years, so that we're not looking to span 2 decades to move you from low functioning to high functioning, that it will just take a little bit of time. Now, ADHD, you're going to have to hang with me. You're going to have to hang with this because it's not a week-long process and it's not a month-long process. And I would even go as far to say it's not a year-long process. But can you think about your life in 5 years being so much more full of the things that you love, of being so much more full of you accomplishing what you want to accomplish, of being so much more full of you having good thoughts about yourself instead of bad thoughts, of you being able to set a goal and accomplish it, you being able to live in a home that feels maybe not perfectly clean and organized, but that feels like home to you. Can we set a 5-year goal? So for me, it was 23 years. For you, let's bring it down. Let's close the gap, close the window, narrow it down to about 5 years. And if you are just like 5 years, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not doing that. I just want you to breathe. Think about yourself 5 years ago. Think about your future self. Isn't it worth it to just give it a try? And maybe you'll be able to do it in 1. Maybe you'll be able to do it in 2. So today we're going through 10 steps of how to move from low functioning to high functioning. And there is absolutely a spectrum of deficiency within the ADHD diagnosis. So even though all of us adults diagnosed with ADHD do display a certain cluster of symptoms, it's not necessarily like the severity of symptoms may vary. So some of us we're not all starting from the same starting point, I think is what I'm trying to say. Some of us have more deficient memory. Some of us have more deficient impulse control. Some of us have more deficient emotional regulation. And so, we're not starting from the same starting point, but we do share this cluster of symptoms. And there is a spectrum of functioning, okay? And I know that you're going to want to jump from low functioning, if you put yourself at like a 0 on the scale, and you're going to want to hop over to high functioning, like a 10 on the scale immediately. But we've got some things that we need to move through first. Okay, so let's define some terms here. The way that I'm going to talk about this, low functioning just the way we're going to talk about it here on the podcast is more like survival mode. You're missing a ton of deadlines. You're getting stuck in a ton of shame spirals. You have major executive dysfunction issues. And maybe you're not even diagnosed or medically treated yet. So like your life is just chaotic. You feel like there's just dumpster fires everywhere. So that would be absolutely lower functioning. Mid functioning, we could call it like rising functioning, emerging functioning. Like this is like the middle of the road. You're becoming aware. You have a diagnosis. You're being treated. You're becoming aware. You're making some progress, but you know, like you're still really inconsistent and you're not quite feeling like you're there yet. You're not quite feeling confident yet. You're not quite able to trust yourself yet, but you're certainly farther along, farther down the road than the chaos and the survival mode of lower functioning. High functioning, you're much more self-aware. You're much more consistent. You're extremely persistent. You're resilient after setbacks. You feel like your life is really aligned. And of course, it's not perfect. And of course, you still have ADHD, but you're just able to like set your mind to do what you want to do, get it done, and live a life that feels really good to you. And so that's what we're looking for. We want to live an aligned life that feels good to you, where you're just like, okay, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I have ADHD. I have to really be careful and intentional about it. But my life feels good to me. I feel like I'm aligned. Okay. And so we're going to talk about this journey today. So let's start with number one. Baseline. We're starting at like chaos, dumpster fire, very, very low functioning. The first thing we need to do is you are probably already know. Anybody who's been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you're going to fill in the blank here. Diagnosis and treatment. Okay. We need to know what's going on in the brain. We need to know, we need to begin to develop an understanding. There needs to be this layer in your life of, oh, I get it. I see what's going on here. I have ADHD. There is a specific reason why my brain works the way it does. And the reason is not I'm a lazy slob who can't get her shit together. Like there's a better reason for that. There's an actual diagnosis to point to, and then proper treatment. Medication's not everything. Medication is not everything, but research after research after research after research has shown that the number one thing that we can do to support ADHD and improve symptoms is to be properly medicated for it. There are many, many options for medication, stimulants, non-stimulants. I was on a stimulant for a long time. And then after I had my kids, something shifted and the stimulant really made me have a lot of anxiety. And so I shifted to a non-stimulant, and I'm much happier on a non-stimulant now, and it's wonderful. But this is ground zero. This is baseline. And it doesn't get us to high functioning immediately, but it certainly helps. It gets the ball rolling. I want to just pause here and say, I've kind of put this in an intentional order. Not kind of. I have. I've put this in an intentional order, but these steps do not have to be taken in order. So I've put these steps in order in a way that I think is logical, but obviously you can choose to do these steps completely out of order in a way that works best for you. Did you know that most ADHDers are perfectionists? In fact, Dr. Russell Ramsey with his team at UPenn found that perfectionism is the most common thought distortion for adults with ADHD. Isn't that shocking? I mean, of all of the wild thoughts that we struggle with, perfectionism is the most common for ADHDers. Now, you might be thinking, how is it possible that I'm a perfectionist? I mean, I'm a mess and I do absolutely nothing perfectly. But what Ramsey found in his research and what I've seen in my experience coaching thousands of adults with ADHD is that the desire to get things right and the fear of failure lead to avoidance, procrastination, and paralysis. And I know as someone with ADHD, you struggle with avoidance, procrastination, and paralysis. So ADHDer, I've put together a 4-part course for you for free that will help you to understand your perfectionistic tendencies and overcome them in an ADHD-friendly way so that you can get get shit done. I mean, that's what we all want, right? So click the link in the episode description for this totally free course. It's a 4-part video series that I've already taken my ADHD clients through. So it's tested, we know it works, and it doesn't suck. We have a great time. So click the link in the description to check it out. Number 1, diagnosis and proper treatment. Number 2, learn to take care of your body's basic needs. And it's sad that I even have to say this, but after working with thousands and thousands of adults with ADHD, one of the things that I have learned and that breaks my heart so much is that we struggle to take care of our body's basic needs. I am talking food, water, sleep, hygiene, the very basics. This breaks my heart. This shows me, in my opinion, this is my opinion, how neglected that we have been by society, by our families, and even by ourselves to ourselves. But the basic needs need to be extremely front and center. And I will say that this is one of the hardest things for me, especially food, remembering to eat, making myself eat, making the effort to eat, and allowing myself to spend money on convenience foods just so that I can get food into my body. All of that has been a lot of drama for me, and that makes me sad. That makes me sad for me. It makes me sad when I think about you and the struggles that you've had. Most likely, I'm making assumptions about you, but I think that I think that I know you. I really do, and I feel like the basic needs need to really be front and center for us. So, number 1, diagnosis and treatment. Number 2, really being aware to take care of your basic needs. So, I want you to think about, like, do you get enough water in the day, or do you get dehydration headaches? Do you eat enough food, or do you find yourself binging at the end of the day? Are you sleeping? Now, we're going to talk about sleep later, so we're going to put a pin in that. Are you taking care of your hygiene and really just like your health? If not, that must be your priority. And I encourage you to make it a priority until it's automatic. So for all of these, the way that I have done this is I've just chosen one thing to focus on until it became simple for me. I've chosen one thing to focus on until it just was automatic. And I really want to encourage you to do that as well. So instead of thinking about a list of 10 things, I want you to choose one area. And if this is not an area that you feel like you are meeting your needs in, I highly encourage you to focus on this area: water, food, sleep, hygiene, just the basic body cues. Like, are you using the restroom when you need to use the restroom? So many of us are just ignoring our body cues. Then we're getting ourselves all agitated. Then our nervous system is dysregulated and freaked out. And one of the nicest things that we can do for ourselves is just listen to our bodies and what it needs. It's so sad that I even have to say this. It breaks my heart. But I want you to focus on it if that's not something that you feel like you're good at. Number 3, and I could have added this into the other one, but I think it bears having its own category. Figure out how to move your body several times a week in a way that feels good to you. Doesn't have to be every day, but if you can do it every day, amazing. And it doesn't have to be a workout class or a specific type of anything. Just move your body in a way that feels good. This is not about punishment. This is not about weight. This is not about physique. This is about your brain. This is about like the number 2 thing that you can do. So the number 1 thing is medication. The number 2 thing that you can do is exercise. To improve your brain, to improve your memory, to improve your cognition, your executive function. Recent research indicates that exercise, even moderate exercise, can positively impact executive function across various age groups, including children, adolescents, and older adults. Studies suggest that exercise improves general cognition, memory, and executive function. And what I did was I found, so this is the research of the week, my friends. I found a meta-analysis of exercise improving cognition and executive function. And a meta-analysis, I'm not a researcher. I'm kind of a nerd. I'm like nerd light. Do you know what I mean? I'm not a scientist. But my understanding is a meta-analysis is a survey of all of the research done, a survey of all, and then a compilation of that. Okay. So effectiveness of exercise for improving cognition, memory, and executive function, a systematic umbrella review and not just meta analysis. I don't even know what that means. Let's just pretend we do. Okay, so here's what the meta analysis found. Memory and executive function improvements from exercise were greater for children and adolescents than for adults or older adults. But listen to this. Those with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder exhibited greater improvement in executive function than other populations. I'm going to read it again. Those with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder exhibited greater improvement in executive function than other populations. Isn't that cool? Effects were generally larger for low and moderate intensity. So that's like good news. You can do low to moderate intensity. Shorter interventions, 1 to 3 months, and exergames. I had to pause and practice that word because what is an exergame? Here's what it is. It's a video game that requires physical movement, had the largest effects on general cognition and memory. Guys, play video games that make you move. Go get Wii Sports or whatever it is the kids are playing these days. You know what I'm saying? This will improve your memory and cognition. That is huge. Figure out a fun way to move your body as much as possible. Now that the weather is turning, I told my producer, Dan, that I wasn't going to talk about the weather. I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to talk about the weather today because only an old person would mention the weather as much as Kristen Carter does. But I'm telling you, the weather is getting just so beautiful, and it is the most gorgeous day today in Philadelphia. And now that the weather is turning and everything is thawing out, including my cold, dark heart, we can move our bodies with so much more ease. And so I just want to encourage you, this is an intensely effective way to improve your ADHD symptoms and to move the needle of functioning of your ADHD. Okay, so we're going to do a very quick review. Number 1, diagnosis and proper treatment. Number 2, take care of your body's basic needs. Number 3, move your body as much as possible in ways that are fun and feel good to you. All right, so that's like a cluster of very basic things that you can do. And I will go so far as to say, if you're not mastering those 3 things, if you don't feel like those 3 things are mastered, if you haven't gotten a diagnosis, you're like, oh gosh, I need to start there. Or if you're taking a moment of pause and you're realizing, oh, I'm not taking care of my basic needs. Okay, start there. Or if you've finally gotten your diagnosis and you're treated and you've been paying attention to your basic needs, but you're not moving your body several times a week, okay, start there. And again, it's not about your body. It's about your brain. So just move your body any way you want to. It doesn't matter. Go take a walk. Go for a bike ride. Do some gardening. Get yourself moving in any way. Do an exergame. Get a Nintendo. Play all of the things. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you do it. Just do it. So those, I would say, are that's the foundation. That's the building block. Okay? All right, moving on to number 4. The next thing that you can do to improve your functioning, to move yourself from lower to mid to high functioning, is to begin to journal and slow down your thinking. I have several podcast episodes about this, especially from the earlier episodes about brain dumps and thought downloads, and what that will do for you is allow you to get the clutter and the chaos out of your brain. To be able to get the clutter out of your brain. Now, I have talked about this many times, but many people with ADHD do not have an internal monologue. And that is related to a deficiency in nonverbal working memory, which is one of our executive functions. This is not across the board. So like we discussed earlier, ADHD is a spectrum. It looks a little differently for all of us, but many of us with ADHD do not have an internal monologue. Okay, so what does that mean? What it means is we don't have the internal voice directing us to accomplish our goals, to get the next thing done, to remember to pick up milk on the way home. We don't have that internal voice. And so what happens is we have all of these thoughts. We still have lots of thoughts. We're just not really paying attention to our thoughts. And so we're being directed and driven by thoughts that we're not even aware of. And I feel like this is really important. So I want you to lean in, turn up your volume, and really hear me here. If you don't have an awareness of your internal monologue, that means you are being directed by thoughts that you're not even aware of. And if you're not happy with the results that you're getting in your life, the place to look is those thoughts. That's the place to look. Who's in the driver's seat? Who's driving the bus? What thoughts here are driving the bus? Okay. And so getting your thoughts out of your brain onto paper and just word vomiting onto paper once a day, twice a day, 5 times a day, here and there, once a week, any little bit will help. Okay. The chaos in your mind will become much more manageable on paper. I promise you. If you're interested in this, go look at early episodes. I have a bunch of episodes on brain dumping, on thought downloading, on figuring out how your thoughts are actually creating so many of your results. So I have the resources there for you. But just know, please understand that journaling is so free. It is the freest thing. Exercise, free. Taking care of your basic needs, free. Like we're not even, like I understand diagnosis and treatment is not free and not everyone has access to it. But most of these suggestions are free. Like just journal. You can do that at no cost to you on the back of an envelope with a marker from your kid's crayon box. That didn't make any sense. With a marker from your kid's craft box. That makes more sense. But journaling and getting your thoughts onto paper is going to change your life. I promise you. Take it to the bank. I will give you a refund, money back guarantee if it doesn't work. Okay, let's move on. This one is a real goodie. Number 5, you're going to need to find a community of support, my love. You're going to need to find a community of support. It is not healthy for you to be alone, for you to feel like you're the only one struggling, for you to feel like you're the only one with ADHD brain who is a little bit quirky and a little bit different. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not serving you. And it's probably lack of community, lack of support, lack of ADHD friends, mentors, etc. It's going to contribute to a lot of shame, a lot of self-judgment, a lot of self-blame. And so if you can find a community online, on social media, come follow me and be a part of the community on Instagram at I Have ADHD Podcast. There's a lot of us that hang out there. On YouTube, here in the comments on YouTube, in a coaching program like mine, Focus, go to ihaveadhd.com/focused. Join us. Like, figure out in your town, is there an ADHD support group? Is there a mental health meetup? Are there people that you can connect with that will help you to feel less alone and to feel less weird? We need to normalize the neurodivergent brain. And we can't do that if you're just surrounded by neurotypical people who think that you're weird. I'm sorry. Like, that's impossible. If you're surrounded by neurotypicals 24/7 and you don't have a community of neurodivergent folks, that needs to be one of the steps that we take along the journey of moving from low functioning to higher functioning with ADHD. So a community of support is extremely, extremely important. I've talked to Dr. Ned Hallowell about this several times, and he calls it vitamin C, which I find so endearing. I'm so grateful to Dr. Hallowell and to the work that he's done for people with ADHD. And he calls community vitamin C. We all need a healthy dose of vitamin C. And so what I want to add to that is like neurodivergent community, neurodivergent vitamin C. Like, yes, community is important, but a community of people, at least in one pocket of your life, who relate to your experience in the world, I think is going to be so important. Vitamin C, y'all, vitamin C. Okay, let's do a quick recap just so that we can stay on the same page, because I know it's kind of hard to keep track of all of this. Number 1, diagnosis and treatment. Number 2, taking care of your body's basic needs. Number 3, figure out how to move your body in a way that feels good to you. Number 4, journal and slow down your thinking. Chaos in the mind becomes manageable on paper. Number 5, find a community of support. Get yourself some vitamin C. Okay. Number 6, learn how to regulate your emotions. I feel like I have 100 episodes on this topic. Learn how to regulate your emotions. This will change your life. This will become your superpower. This will become your ability to change your future, because your emotions are the fuel that drive your actions. And if you don't like the actions that you're taking, like avoidance and procrastination and putting things off and being impulsive and et cetera, if you don't like your actions, you've got to look at the fuel. You've got to look at your emotions, okay? And so learning how to regulate your emotions to feel and process and self-soothe and move on from big, overwhelming emotions in your body. Learning how to do that will change everything for you. It will move the needle on your functioning. I guarantee it. Again, another money back guarantee. It's the Kristen Carter money back guarantee here. This is why I have an entire course on emotional regulation in my focused ADHD program. It is the most important thing. I point people to it constantly. That emotional regulation course, an entire course with a workbook and 8 classes. I mean, it's just so important. Emotional regulation, once you learn how to do it, once you learn how to harness your emotions, it can become a superpower for you as a person with ADHD. Your ability to regulate your emotions can become your greatest asset. But because of ADHD and our deficiency in this area, a lot of times we are flying blind. A lot of times, again, it's like a who's driving the bus situation. It's like, I feel this extreme emotion. I don't know what to do with it. I'm totally overwhelmed. I'm totally overcome by it. And now I'm just paralyzed. Now I'm just not going to get anything done for the rest of the day. So all of my goals and all of my plans go out the window. Why? Because of my freaking emotion. And if I can just learn how to regulate my emotion, then I can get that under control. I can get that under my control. Right? I become in charge, and then I'm able, once I move through it and move past it, I'm able to do the things that I set out to do today. So emotional regulation is paramount. This next one, number 7, is something that I have really taken to heart in the last couple years, and I think it's made such a huge difference for me overall. I'm so excited to talk about this specific topic, figuring out your limits. Figuring out your specific limits, your capacity, your edges, the edges of your functioning. What often happens for us ADHDers is we are in this binge burnout cycle, this high productivity and then burnout cycle that just is this continual, perpetual cycle of I'm going all in, I'm totally working so hard, I'm so productive, I'm working way past my limits because I don't even know what my limits are, and I work past my limits for long enough that now I'm burned out. And so now when I'm in burnout, I can get nothing done. I go into the cave. I ghost everyone that I know and love. And I'm completely, the word useless is what comes to mind, but I don't mean useless as a human being. I mean, like, I cannot function. Like I'm completely non-functional. And so now I'm in a burnout. And finally, after some time of rest and restoration, I am able to function again. But instead of just functioning within the limits of my capacity, I'm going absolutely crazy, super hyper productive, and working way past my limits over and over and over and over, and then inevitably burning myself out again. And so it's just this perpetual cycle that if we are going to be high functioning people with ADHD, we need to stop. This must stop. This is not healthy. This does not serve us. It does not serve our families. It does not serve our careers. We know this. And the only way to stop is to begin to honor your own limits. I literally have a podcast titled Honoring the Limits of Your Capacity. Like, this is stuff that we've talked about before, but it's extremely important if you want to be a high functioning ADHDer, is starting to recognize where your limits are and saying no to yourself and others before you're exhausted, before you're burned out, so that you can have so much more consistency. This is a huge reason. I just pointed my finger at the camera like a 44-year-old mom that I am. Like, this is the reason why we're inconsistent. It's one of the main reasons why we're inconsistent, because we are hyper productive and we work far past our limits for far too long, and then we burn out. And so it looks extremely inconsistent. Oh, you're so productive one day and then you're so lazy the next day. Why? Because my productivity is not within my own limits and capacity. And so saying no to yourself, actually stopping work at 5 p.m. Excuse me? Are you listening? Actually stopping work at 5 p.m., whether you've finished your list or not. You heard it. Whether you finish your list or not, actually stopping work at 5 p.m. and then resting and just like going home, being a parent or just a person, either way, it doesn't matter. Just living your life, not working. So important, because then what happens? You have more capacity the next day to continue to be productive. I'm very passionate about this. I coach so many people with ADHD from all over the world. And this is one of the main things that we work on, is setting limits on your productivity, even when you haven't reached your goal, even when you haven't crossed everything off your list, allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to rest. Because that is what is going to allow you to be productive. I mean, this is another take it to the bank moment, but I'm not going to say it again because it's getting old. But I'm telling you, people don't believe me. They say, I can't stop because I haven't gotten my list done. And what I say is, how is that working for you? How's it working out? Is it helping you get your list done? Is it helping you be more consistently productive? I know it's not. Stopping work and resting, regardless of how much you got done during the day, that's how to do it. Okay, I'm getting hot, which means I need to move on. All right, so I'm just going to review the first 8 that we just went, the first 7 that we just went over, and then we're going to take a quick voicemail. So number 1, diagnosis and treatment. Number 2, take care of your body's basic needs. Number 3, Wow, she said that in a weird way. Number 3, move your body in a way that feels good to you. Number 4, journal and slow down your thinking. Number 5, find a community of support. Number 6, regulate your emotions. Figure out, learn. It can be learned. Learn how to regulate your emotions. Number 7, learn your limits and work within them. Get curious about what burns you out and listen to that wisdom, that inner wisdom. So learn your limits. Everyone with ADHD knows what to do to improve their lives. You go to bed at a reasonable time and you wake up early, make a list, cross the things off the list in order, manage your time well. Yeah, we know what to do, but ADHD is not a disorder of not knowing what to do. It's a disorder of knowing exactly what to do, but not being able to get yourself to do it. That's why ADHD is so frustrating. We're smart and we want to succeed, but we can't get ourselves to do the things that we know we should do in order to make improvements. That's why I created Focused. I'm a life coach with multiple certifications, and since 2019, I've spent thousands of hours coaching adults with ADHD. Time for me to focus on you. Hello. Welcome to your coaching call. I am going to be coaching you today on relationships. I know what it takes to help an adult with ADHD go from hot mess express to grounded and thriving. Focused is my monthly coaching membership where we go deep and we get to the root cause of what holds us back with ADHD. I'll teach you how to understand your ADHD brain, regulate your emotions, and accept yourself, flaws and all. With this foundation, we build the skills to improve life with ADHD. And not only do you get skills and tools in Focused, but you're surrounded by a huge community of adults with ADHD who are also doing the work of self-development right alongside of you. Dr. Ned Hallowell says healing happens in community, and I have absolutely found this to be true. As a matter of fact, listen to what actual Focus members have to say about being in this program.
What can I say about Focused?
Full community of people who have issues similar to you, and no one judge you.
Focused has really supported me with my difficulties and asking for help. I've been encouraged and cheered on by the community.
I really like that you can do as much or as little as you want. It's not just about the volume of the content, it's about the quality.
Focus has helped me understand ADHD better.
I would recommend this to anyone.
I would thoroughly recommend Focused.
I can confidently say that this is one of the best decisions that I have made for myself.
So if you're an adult with ADHD who wants to figure out how to be motivated from the inside out and make real lasting changes in your life, join hundreds of others from around the world in Focused. Click the link in the episode description to check it out. Okay, we are going to take a voicemail. Now, I love that you guys are calling in. I've gotten so many voicemails lately. I'm obsessed. I love it. If you want your question answered on the podcast, call 833-281-2343. And we are going to hear now from Paula.
Hi, my name is Paula, and I am calling from Alabama. However, I am from Georgia, so go Dogs. But my question, or actually my statement, is that I have been dealing with mental illness for a very long time throughout most of my life, and just was diagnosed with adult ADHD later in life. And my question is it common for people suffering with ADHD to always try to be accommodating to the people around them, to be making everyone else around myself comfortable instead of the other way around? I find that I have to make other people comfortable to be around me. And then as I've grown and had medication change, that has helped extremely well with my bipolar and ADHD. Vraylar has changed my whole thought process into thinking that I don't have to accommodate anybody. I'm not here to make anyone else comfortable. If they want to be around me, then that's their choice. But it's not my job to make other people feel comfortable.
Ooh, Paula, what a question. I love it. I love your accent too, Paula. It is so warm and comforting. Absolutely love it. Thanks for calling in. Okay, so here's why I placed this voicemail right here in this specific spot, because we are going to be talking now about this very topic. And what I want to say to you, Paula, is I'm so proud of you for getting to a place where you realize that you've been working your whole life to make everyone around you comfortable. And I can just kind of like picture you looking around now like, excuse me, who's here making me comfy? Who's here making me comfy? And why am I the one with the responsibility to make everyone else comfortable? And I think the point that I just want to get across is I do believe that this is very common in the ADHD experience. And I do believe that it is connected to our relational wounding, to our upbringing, to our various traumatic experiences, to our rejection sensitivity and our experiences of rejection throughout our infancy, toddlerhood, childhood, adolescence, et cetera, et cetera. And so it makes sense that we finally enter like adulthood and we want to make other people comfortable in order for them to accept us, in order for them to love us, in order for them to be happy and pleased with us, in order for us to get our needs met. Some of you grew up in families where you literally had to make the people around you comfortable or your needs were not met. Your emotional needs, your physical needs, your needs for connection, they would not be met if you did not make other people comfortable. So I think that yes, this is common, but what I sense in you now is a little defiance, and I love that. And what I just want to throw out there is that I encourage you to find relationships that are mutually accommodating. I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm never accommodating the other person. I want to accommodate the people that I love, but I want the same kindness to be afforded to me. I want to make sure that I'm not the only one being accommodating. I'm not the only one trying to make people feel comfortable. I'm happy to do that for people that I love, happy to, but not if it's not reciprocated. Not if it's just all on me, not if I'm the only one having to do it. And so I would just really encourage you, Paula, and others that relate to Paula, to begin to seek out relationships where there's a lot more mutuality, where there's a lot more reciprocity. There's a lot more back and forth of like acceptance, but also accommodation. Like, in a marriage, in a friendship with my kids, like there's times when it's so appropriate to accommodate and it's so appropriate to make sure that the other person is comfortable, but not always at my own expense and not if it's just me doing that for them. Like, what about the mutuality here? What about the back and forth? What about the reciprocity? So I just want to make the point here that I think we can be mutually accommodating, but if you are finding yourself, if you're kind of waking up, which I think so many of us do, we wake up in relationships. You said you're on a new medication. It's really changed everything. You have so much more awareness. And so now you're kind of like waking up, you're looking around and you're like, what is going on? Like, I'm the only one being accommodating. Okay, that's inappropriate. We don't want that. We want to be in relationships that are much more mutual than that. And so I just want to encourage you to begin to find relationships and friendships where there's reciprocity, which just means like an equality, a back and forth, where there's mutual accommodation. Thank you so much for calling in, Paula. And this sets us up so perfectly for the next couple of things we're going to talk about. If you want your question answered on the pod, call 833-281-2343. Don't worry, we're going to pop that into the show notes too, so you don't have to remember that. Paula, thank you, because this leads us into number 8. Explore some therapy or emotional healing content. Y'all, if you have ADHD, you've had some trauma in your life. I never identified as somebody who had trauma. I never identified as somebody who was from a dysfunctional family. I never identified as somebody who had any issues in those areas. And then I went to therapy. And I realized how how difficult I had actually had it. And even if we take out family dysfunction, even if you're just somebody with ADHD who has existed in a neurotypical world for decades, you have absolutely struggled in a way that others haven't, and you deserve some support. You deserve to explore your story with a professional through the lens of emotional health. I know that not everyone has access to therapy, but if you do, listen to me. If you have money, spend it on therapy, please. I'm begging you. If you have money, spend it on figuring out how to be emotionally healthy. Spend it on figuring out your childhood story. Raise your hand if you don't remember your childhood. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that for many therapists is a huge red flag that you had some major trauma, that your childhood was so overwhelming that you actually had to detach from the experiences. I know that was a bait and switch, and that was really not fair of me to do, but I wanted to prove a point that so many of us who don't identify as having trauma, which is anything that overwhelms the nervous system, and anything that we're unable to cope with, so many of us don't identify as having difficult childhoods, but if you don't remember your childhood, I'm stumbling over my words because this is so important. If you don't remember your childhood, it's an indicator that you actually had a very difficult childhood. And so I just want to encourage you to spend time and energy exploring your story within a therapeutic relationship. Now, there's a reason why this is number 8 on the list. I'm not saying you can't start with this. You might want to start with this, but I want to say to you, I would have never been able to function in a therapist's office if I wasn't already medicated for ADHD. I would have not had the patience for that. I wouldn't have been able to function in a therapist's office if I wasn't already taking care of my basic needs and doing some baseline ADHD, like semi-functioning. I didn't start going to therapy until I was mid-functioning. It did help me move into high functioning. It helped me move from mid-range functioning into high functioning, but I would have never personally would have never been able to engage in a true therapeutic relationship at a low functioning level. And so I just want to explain to you that this is why I have this much later in the list, to help us move from mid-range functioning to much higher functioning. I will say that if we can tackle the first 6, 7 things on this list, if we can get to the point where we're diagnosed and treated and moving our bodies and covering our basic needs and downloading our thoughts and able to observe what we're thinking and regulating our emotions, et cetera, that's like a good mid-functioning range. But if you want to move into high functioning, you're going to have to explore your relationships. And this is scary. This is hard. If you truly want to be a high functioning person with ADHD, you're going to have to explore your childhood, your relationships, your story. And so I want to encourage you, for those of you who kind of can identify yourself in the middle of the road in your mid-functioning range, if you want to move to high functioning, begin to explore your relationships. Whew. I just get so passionate about this. This is why I'm writing a book on relationships and ADHD, and such good news to share. I literally just accepted a book deal. So this book is happening. I'm so excited. I will share much more. But on my birthday, May 1st, I accepted a book deal, and we will be writing this book. By we, I mean me. I'm going to be writing a book on ADHD and relationships. And the reason why this is so important is because this is one of the missing pieces to the puzzle of becoming a high functioning person. I just want to let you know that if you don't have access to therapy, a great resource on YouTube and Instagram is Patrick Tian. He's an amazing resource. He has a ton of videos. I also believe that he has like a community where he helps people who struggle. And so Patrick Tian, the last name is Tehan on YouTube. He has so many videos that are helpful in understanding just like toxic families and childhood trauma and emotional health. So I highly, highly recommend. Okay, we've got 2 more left. We're going to rush through them because I don't want to keep you longer than an hour, my friend. Okay, number 9. This goes hand in hand with what I just said, but it bears standing alone. Stop people pleasing. Stop people pleasing. There's no way that you are going to be a high functioning person with ADHD if you are a people pleaser, because by definition, a people pleaser is focused on other people's happiness, is focused on other people's emotional regulation, is focused on other people's nervous systems and regulating everyone else in their life. And so their personal life, their own life is the back burner, is a second thought. And if you want to be a high functioning person with ADHD who is able to set goals and reach them, you got to stop people pleasing. It's just so many of us people please in ways that we don't even realize. For example, like you are a neurodivergent person. Are you living like it? Or are you trying to pretend that you're not neurodivergent? Is your life designed for you? Or is it designed to please the people around you, to impress the people around you, to make the people around you like you? Paula, I'm talking to you, girl. I'm talking to you, Paula, and everyone else that resonates. So there is no way to be a high functioning person with ADHD and be a people pleaser at the same time. Your functioning will always be lower than it could be if you are focused on others, if you have an external locus of control, if you are more focused on other people's regulation, on other people's happiness, on other people being happy with you, you will never reach the potential that you possibly could if you were not a jerk, not an a-hole. I'm not asking that of you, but what I do want is, can we have an internal locus of control, an internal people, like a personal pleasing? I'm gonna make sure that I am living a life that feels aligned to me. I'm gonna prioritize my own nervous system. I'm gonna prioritize my own emotional regulation. I'm gonna prioritize the way that my brain and body work and need. And when I do that, I actually have so much more to give to others in a very appropriate way, in a way that's appropriate. Okay. The last thing, number 10, and maybe we should blow through these. We'll do it at the end. The last thing, number 10, and I mentioned it just a little bit here. Set up a life that works for you. Set up a life that works for you. Accommodate yourself. Understand your needs, your struggles, your neurodivergence. Set up your life in a way that works for you. Like down to the simplest things, like put the dishes in the cabinet that makes the most sense for you. Put your keys in the spot that makes the most sense for you. Go to bed at the time that makes sense for you. Set up your life in a way that works for you, not for anyone else. Again, this is very connected. Like the last 3 here, really, really connected to each other. And I will kind of go out on a limb here and say that for many of us, we're not going to be able to stop people pleasing, and we're not going to really be able to set up a way that a life that works really for us if we haven't explored our story in therapy. I don't know that to be 100% true, but that's my gut sense, because there is so much wanting to make everyone else happy connected to our ADHD experience that needs to be unraveled and undone in a therapeutic relationship. And and so much detachment from other people and other people's expectations and other people's desires for us. And like so much of that has to be unraveled in a therapeutic relationship. But setting up your life in a way that works for you is going to change everything. Actually living like you have ADHD, hello, and not pretending, not trying to pretend that you don't. That is one of the key ways to be a higher functioning person. So we're going to recap just really quick here. The 10 ways to become someone who is high functioning with ADHD. And this is not necessarily in order. I would say the first 3 are so foundational and so needed. The last 3 are probably best saved for the end, but not necessarily. We're gonna blow through them here. Number 1, diagnosis and proper treatment. Number 2, taking care of your body's basic needs: water, food, sleep, hygiene. Number 3, moving your body in a way that feels good to you regularly. Number 4, journal and slow down your thinking. Figure out what thoughts are driving the bus of your life. Number 5, finding a community of support, getting yourself some vitamin C, as Dr. Hallowell says. Number 6, learn how to regulate your emotions. And again, I'm going to say it can be done. This is a skill that can be developed no matter who you are. Number 7, learn your limits and work within the boundaries of your own capacity. Number 8, explore therapy or emotional healing content. Do some emotional healing. Oh my goodness. Number 9, stop people pleasing. And number 10, set up your life in a way that works for you and your neurodivergent brain. Okay? This is not a linear process. Even though I have it like adorably numbered from 1 to 10, this is not a linear process. Okay? This is non-linear, and it may be a longer process than you want it to be. Let's just be honest. As someone with ADHD who is constantly impatient, everything is a longer process than I want it to be. But we don't have to jump quickly to the top of the functioning scale. We just need to move that needle a little bit at a time. So what can you do this week? What can you do this week that is going to allow you to just move that needle just a little bit? If you can develop persistence for moving that needle of functioning just a little bit farther, a little bit more, I promise you're going to look back in a couple years and be like, I can't believe how far I've come. I promise you that will be your story. Okay. As we end, I just want to normalize like setbacks. There's no actual like done. I'm constantly shocked by like how my symptoms present in my life, and I'm still procrastinating. I'm still avoiding, but I certainly have many more tools in my tool belt to overcome that. And that's what I want for you too. I know that your story is not finished. I know that you have more progress to be made. And I know that that can be done in a way that's without shame, without blame, without judgment. And that's what I want for you. All right, ADHDer. I'm so glad we had this hour together. It was so fun. I'm going to talk to you next week. I will see you then. Bye-bye.